Hello everybody and welcome to the Kia Center here in Orlando, Florida, where the Celtics just fell to the Magic 95-93 in their Game 3 matchup of the NBA postseason. And to be honest, this was about as ugly as we've seen the Celtics look, specifically offensively. And Orlando's given them trouble this series with their physicality, with their ability to take away the three ball. I mean, it's given the Celtics problems, but not to the extent that we saw tonight. And the Celtics didn't do themselves any favors. I mean, obviously you're going to struggle against an Orlando defense like this. It's inevitable, right? And we've seen the Celtics really break through that in stretches. And a couple in the games 1 and 2 was one big run that really kind of put the game away, specifically usually in the third quarter, which the Celtics went in the opposite direction tonight and had a terrible third quarter. In fact, one of their worst third quarters of the past 5 years. I mean, they scored 11 points. That was their fewest since the 2021 season. And you don't really see this offense get bogged down like this. Like, you'd have to go back a couple seasons to where they weren't really that stagnant. It had vibes of the Oklahoma City loss earlier this season, where Oklahoma City just kind of took away what Boston wanted to do, and they weren't really able to adjust. And part of that was Kristaps Porzingis, who admitted after the game that he did not have a great game, and he struggled mightily. He was 3 of 10, only had 7 points, and was 0 of 3 from 3. And you're going to need him to be better in those moments, because he's kind of, we hear it all the time, he's the cheat code, right? He's their guy they go to in those situations to really get the offense going, really get them out of a slump, right? You can just get it to them around the free throw line, right at the nail, in a post-up scenario, whatever it may be, especially when the three-pointers aren't not falling, or they're not being generated. So this is a game you kind of need Kristaps Porzingis, in a series that you need Kristaps Porzingis to be present, and he just hasn't really done it. And the Celtics, like I said, didn't do themselves any favors as well, though. I mean, when you're playing an inferior team, those margins that Joe Mazzulla talks about all the time are so much more important, right? Are you getting up more shots than the opponent? Are you getting more rebounds? Are you turning the ball over less? That's how you let an inferior team hang around. And Celtics did that all night. They got outshot by 9. They got out-rebounded by 4. They had 6 more turnovers, and they allowed 15 offensive rebounds. Like, those second chance points and those points off turnovers are what swings the game. You're talking 40 points there out of 95. 40%, whatever that is, somewhere around there. Like, you're feeding into Orlando trying to get going, and you really kind of help them hang around in this game. And the Celtics really haven't been able to pull away from the margins at all, really, in this series. But tonight, they just couldn't really fix it. It's been the third quarter. It's been one big run that really kind of separates them and gets them in rhythm. And games 1 and 2, at least, those kind of felt identical. And then tonight, the Celtics really couldn't go with that big run, especially in the third quarter, where they've been so good in this series. It was completely the other way. I think it was a 20-4 run right out of the third quarter, and the Celtics were just stagnant on offense. They scored just 11 points. I mean, that's unheard of for this team. And I think the physicality of Orlando really kind of got to them. And I don't blame the Celtics. Jaylen Brown was all over it post-game saying, we're supposed to be playing basketball, and at times this hasn't felt like basketball. There's been 3 flagrant fouls on Orlando, 1 in every game. And you had Jayson Tatum, obviously, in game 1, hurt his wrist, had that bone bruise in his wrist. That cost him a game. Game 2, Kristaps Porzingis gets stitches in his forehead. He had 5 of them. Game 3 today, Jaylen Brown's tugged down on a flagrant foul and dislocates an index finger. So I can see why the Celtics are getting frustrated with it. And this is kind of a different type of physicality. I think in the past, the Celtics have done, especially this iteration, the Celtics have done a good job of responding to physicality and really dictating the terms of the game, where they haven't really been able to do that against this Orlando team. And this does feel like it's teetering the line, where it's borderline violence and abuse. And I say that jokingly, but really I can't recall a series that I've watched that has had this much physicality. And it's been fun to watch, but if you're the Celtics, it's like, man, there's a long way between now and June 5th and game 1 of the NBA Finals, and people are already getting banged up. Like, Derek White was limping around today. Peyton Pritchard limped around in game 1. Obviously, I mentioned the Porzingis stitches, Jaylen Brown. Like, all these players are dealing with these different ailments, and it's not something you necessarily want to see in round 1 of the playoffs and what you're hoping will be a long postseason run. So Celtics want to try to wrap this thing up as quickly as they possibly can. And I think they're going to be motivated coming out of this next game because they're going to look at this, and Joe Mazzulla really emphasizes these margins. So I expect that to be a big point of emphasis in their film session tomorrow, and they're really going to admit to those and know they have to be better at it. But I expect them to be motivated, and things will look a lot different come game 4. And looking at it, this team only lost back-to-back games twice this year. Their longest losing streak was 2. They only lost back-to-back games twice. They were 19-2 coming off a loss, and I expect them to come out and look a lot different in game 4 because they know that this was in their control. Like they're going to look at the film, they're going to figure out what went wrong specifically on offense, and they're going to find ways to counter that and adjust to that because this team is far too talented to get bogged down the way they did. And I think, again, a lot of that has to do with Porzingis, but the supporting cast just itself wasn't good enough tonight, and that's something they'll need to fix looking ahead to game 4. But that'll do it for tonight's video. They got Mary J. Blige coming in here tomorrow, so they're about to kick us out. So just wanted to hop on here and give a quick instant reaction as the Celtics fall 95-93 in game 3. We'll be back on Sunday night for game 4, and I'll be back with Mego on Monday night for game 5 because we will have that at TD Garden. So as always, thank you for watching, thank you for hanging out, and we will talk to you on Sunday night.